You are listening to the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast, where we discuss how to find ultimate intimacy in your relationship. We believe that no matter how many years you've been married, you can achieve passion, romance, happiness, and ultimate intimacy at any stage of your life. Join us as we talk to not only marriage experts, but couples just like yourself and people who are just flat out fun. The Ultimate Intimacy Podcast is for couples who have a good relationship but want to make it even better.
And welcome to the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast. And today's episode is the 10 products that you need in your marriage.
That will transform
your marriage, or could transform your marriage,
and why do we feel that way?
Yeah, we have several products that we really encourage people to use, and that can really help their marriage, that we use in our marriage. And we're going to talk about those products and show you how they can help you in your relationship.
Why we chose them, why we created some of them. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
you to start us out?
No, you lead us off.
I'm going to lead us off.
The number one. What is the number one product that we have that will transform people's marriages?
We believe it is the Ultimate Intimacy app. Are we biased?
We're biased. But
we don't want to just talk today because we're trying to push anything. We literally, if you know our story, created or chose everything that we use for a reason, because it has positively affected or changed or transformed our relationship, right?
This is not a selling podcast. This is a podcast as to why and how these things can really help your marriage, because these products are really almost cover every aspect, right? If someone has low libido, if there are barriers in your marriage, if your wife has a hard time having an orgasm, like all these things can be a great benefit and really help overcome or solve some problems that most people have in their marriage, right?
And I feel like they all encompass every area of intimacy or barrier that could be causing bad intimacy, right? Whether it's sexual, emotional, physical, spiritual. I feel like these products can help in every aspect.
For sure. And again, that's the whole reason we built the app, is because we saw that the things that we were doing in our marriage was having a profound positive impact on our relationship. And we're like, man, there's got to be a lot of other people that really are probably struggling with some of the same things we struggled with and need help. And look at how this is really helping our relationship. And so that's the whole reason that Amy said, let's build the app, and came up with the ideas that she had.
And this isn't like the app is a free download. Obviously, most of you probably already have the app. But what we wanted to kind of do is tell the story behind each item that we're going to talk about and how it came to be and why we created it. So I think it'd be awesome for anyone especially that's new, that hasn't listened to our story, to kind of hear where the app came from and why we feel like it's so beneficial, because we literally built it for us first, right? So we were having, I'll keep the story short for those who already heard it, but we were having some serious disconnect emotionally. And you heard the story about me buying a bedroom game and trying to spice things up because I wasn't craving sexual intimacy, and I was like, what's wrong with me? I'm broken. I don't want it. No, I'm literally just don't desire it. But when the emotional intimacy is bad, then I really am not desiring it at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So building the app and thinking, let's spice up the bedroom without seeing stuff that we don't want to see. We wanted to create a safe space. And we implemented, trying some new things in the bedroom, trying a game. We learned that it was the emotional intimacy and the communication and the listening, just that oneness was what was actually missing in our relationship. And so for all the women out there who are just like, I'm just not feeling that emotional closeness that I need, that's why the sexual intimacy is lacking. That's 100% correct. That is how it works. And so the husbands out there, if your wife isn't feeling that closeness, like we always talk about, the sexual intimacy, number one, isn't going to come naturally, but it's probably not even going to be wanted at all, because you have to feel one with your spouse to want to connect that way. That's the most vulnerable act you have, right? That's like, there's nothing more uniting. So as I kept thinking, okay, why am I broken? Why am I not craving this? I was so stressed out, and our connection was so just lacking emotionally that, I don't know, we had to start having some really hard conversations. And the app helped us start once we created it and started talking about sex, then we were so much easier to start talking about, oh, well, I'm missing this, and I don't like how you're not listening to me, and I don't feel like you're hearing me. And those kind of conversations is what actually changed our marriage. And then the sexual intimacy just got better as the emotional intimacy got better. They go parallel.
Well,
right?
Yeah, and one of the great things about the app, too, that was very important to us is creating a safe environment and a safe place where people can say, I can go here and I know I'm not going to see any porn, or I'm not going to see anything that's against my values. But really a hub where you can learn anything you need to learn. Like as a husband, I can go learn more about the female body and what a woman needs and how a woman enjoys sexual intimacy. I can go learn how to provide better emotional intimacy to my wife, right? Like we can go on there and people can go on there and learn pretty much anything that they could ever want or need to learn within a marriage. And so, what an awesome, safe place people can go and just access so much information.
And so, so just the pieces of the app, the bedroom game positions are awesome if that emotional intimacy is already there. But if it's not, start on the love language quiz. You have to speak your spouse's love language in order to have amazing emotional intimacy. So that's where the resources and the love quiz and some of the, we have coupons and printables in the resources, leaving your spouse love notes. Those little things are what build the emotional intimacy that is the foundation before the sexual intimacy. So as we were thinking, let's create a bedroom game, let's create some fun technique ideas and things to spice up the bedroom, we then started adding to the app all these emotional connection ideas, because we realized how important that was to have that strong before you can have fun in the bedroom. So
yeah, and each one of the products or different things we put in the app has a meaning or a reason behind that. We didn't just throw stuff on there saying, let's just throw stuff on there. There's a reason and a meaning behind all of them. And
absolutely.
So we just kind of wanted to go through and kind of share, I guess, a backstory or the reason and the meaning for some of the different things that are not only in the app, but also products that we promote and sell through our shop, and why. Because Amy and I, if you've noticed, we don't really take any advertisements or promote things outside of what we do unless we really believe in it. I mean, we have very few people that we will promote their stuff, but the ones that we do, it's product that we have used, or really believe in. And so, we aren't just about throwing stuff out and trying to sell a bunch of stuff just to sell it. We truly care about wanting people to have better marriages, and there is a reason and a story behind pretty much the things that we sell. So
absolutely.
So so share the story behind obviously we have the intimacy game. Share the story behind the intimacy game.
The one I bought? The whole background story?
Or just the intimacy game we created on the app. I mean, I think one of the reasons we created the intimacy game is to really make it about focusing on foreplay, really taking the time to go through things instead of, just sex being quick and done with, as you take turns and do actions to each other. It's just an amazing thing, and the build-up is incredible, right? So it focuses on foreplay, creates a lot of time to really go back and forth. And honestly, the biggest thing is unselfishness, right? So rather than just focusing on your own needs, the game forces you to focus on your spouse's needs, because there's times that you're going to be doing those actions and you're 100% focused on them and your spouse's needs. And you can also customize the game to be able to focus on those needs even more.
And I think that's what's the most amazing part of the game is that it's like Spotify. Like you literally go in to customize your game because there's things that, I mean, we're just not, there's things that I'm like, I don't really care to do that. And there's some people are like, I want to do that. I would do that. Let's stay more in the foreplay. Whatever comfort level you have, it's totally customizable. So you can go in before you even start the game and say, yes, no, don't like that, would never do that. I don't like oral. I like oral. Like to whatever you feel comfortable in your marriage. And remember, like we used marriage and sex professionals when we put the app together, and it's recommended to tons of therapists. So trying new things is important. Like if you go to a marriage counselor, they're going to tell you how important it is to keep the bedroom fun, not to bring porn in, but to try new things. And where are you going to go on the internet or a book or anywhere that is completely safe and nudity free and created by professionals, right?
For sure.
To help you learn new things to try. And so that's kind of where it came from. And so the customized feature is amazing. But what Nick was talking about is edging. When you're trying something and then you stop and you're like super aroused and then you try something else and it keeps your arousal there, which makes the game so awesome, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you literally get to a point and you're like, I can't take it anymore. Literally. And that's pretty awesome for a woman to be able to say, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and in addition to the intimacy or bedroom game, we have the truth or dare game, which I absolutely love.
That one's my favorite.
Because as couples, you have to have both the emotional connection and the physical connection. And so with the intimacy, truth or dare, you kind of get both. You're talking about sexual things or talking or asking questions to your spouse that maybe normally you wouldn't ask, and you're in a very vulnerable situation, right? So you're asking questions and you're like, oh, that's a daring question, right?
Yeah.
And so you're connecting on such a deeper level because you're now combining the sexual intimacy with the emotional intimacy or the talking. And I think that's a really fun way to connect on both levels because that is needed to really be able to connect, right?
Absolutely. I was just going to share like a sample. So on the app, so you can download the Truth or Dare on the app. So this one would say, I'm going to find a good one, or like, well, they're all good, but what sex position so this is the truth. What sex position feels the best to you and why? So normally someone might not ask that, especially if they have a hard time talking about sex, right?
Yeah. The
dare, call me on the phone and leave a sexy message on my voicemail. Another one said, lick, kiss, and nibble my nipples for did I just say nibbles?
Nibbles.
Nibbles for 1 minute. Another one was, when was last time we made love in the car? And then the dare was actually go make love in the car. So obviously, I don't know. It's a lot of the truth in there is like, you could do truth for like half the game and then start getting into dares. Like, I feel like it's emotionally connecting and then physically connecting, which is just the perfect match, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And remember, so we had a lot of people asking us, we want to give this as an actual physical game. And so that's why we created our products to go along with the app, because they make awesome wedding presents, anniversary presents. Some people just want the actual they're trying to like get off, like stay away from their phone certain times a day. So they wanted like the physical products so they weren't on their phone. So best of both worlds, right?
So let's talk about the date night cards. We wrote an article, How Date Night Changed Our Marriage.
Yes, we did.
And we religiously go on a date night every week, sometimes even two, but we always have a date night. Nothing's going to get in our way of a date night. And so date night literally has been a game changer for us in our relationship, and we wanted to put together just a ton of great date night ideas and things that you can do at home, things that don't cost money, things that you've probably never done, crazy things, exciting things.
It's just a whole mix, yep.
Yeah, so that's a really fun card deck. And
that's a fun card deck because that's something like you could buy as like a gift for your spouse and then like pull one out each week or pull them out and like put them on a calendar and kind of schedule out your time.
But I must admit, sometimes Amy and I are pretty boring. Sometimes we do the same date night, but that's okay. That's what works for us, right? And sometimes we are exciting. So
we need to challenge our own marriage to at least use one card like twice a month.
I agree.
And do something new.
I agree. So date night cards are awesome. Now the next one's my favorite. The romance and sexy coupon book.
Oh, yeah. Nick always wants those. And I shared an awesome way not too long ago of how to use that to help initiate. So if you're having a spouse that's have a spouse that like never wants to initiate like me, and because we get that from a lot of husbands, like my wife will never initiate, it's always me. If you use this romance and sexy coupon book, there's so many coupons that are just, some of them are romantic, some are kind of sexual and fun. You could take one and like take turns, give it to him. So like you give me one this week, you give me one this week, and then it gives you ideas of how to kind of initiate.
Yeah.
Make it kind of fun, right?
Yep,
throw them in a bowl and pick one out and say, this is how I'm going to initiate tonight.
So, and you've heard this probably, those of you that listen to previous podcasts, but I literally, for Christmas, I'm just like, give me a romance and sexy coupon book. Like, that's literally what I want. Amy's like, we created that. You have access to that anytime. Why do you want that? And, I mean, that's just, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Good. It's awesome for Nick because he doesn't have to feel like I'm going to reject him, or he can hand me a coupon that morning and be like, do you think I could use this tonight? And it's in a very nice, loving tone. Like, is tonight a good night that I could use this coupon? And then it gives me the rest of the day to be like, okay, this is what we're doing. I can emotionally prepare myself, physically prepare myself. Like, and it was, I know it was a gift that I gave him. So in my mind, I'm like, I want to make this happen for you. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love it. Everyone that buys it loves that one.
Well, the next one, and probably the most important one, is the conversation starters. We get so many people that leave us reviews or give us feedback that say, I love your app, it's amazing, but we use the conversation starters more than anything. Mm-hmm. We had a guy say, my wife and I are just talking for hours and hours on road trips and just having a blast, and we're talking about things we've never talked about. And obviously when the conversations there, the connections there, you're talking and having in-depth conversations, typically everything else in the relationship's going to be good when you can learn to communicate. And everything really is based upon the foundation of good communication. One of the things I love about the conversation starters is that it focuses on every area. So you have spiritual, you have financial, you family. You have sex, and really, it's so much easier rather than bringing up a topic to your spouse. If you're just reading a card and saying, oh, the card's saying, what's our favorite way to make love, or, whatever it is, that's an easy way to start normally a very uncomfortable or tough conversation, but just easily puts you into that conversation. Then you can start talking about those things. So I love the conversation starters, and just, like I said, it's a really easy way to get into some really in-depth and deep conversations that normally you probably wouldn't have.
And we have conversations after 21 years that lead to some real deep discussions, right?
The other night we were talking for like an hour and a half, and we're like, man, we should have been recording this whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to add to that. The problem that a lot of marriages are having is that they'd rather swipe Instagram or TikTok instead of talking to each other. And I think that we, especially years into marriage, it's like we've already talked about everything. We've been married forever. There's always something to talk about, and whether it sounds less fun than scrolling TikTok, you've got to change your priorities. You cannot have an amazing marriage if that's what you're choosing over talking to your spouse. So hopefully the conversation starts help you start getting some really fun and new conversations starting so that you'll choose that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep. So what about the position card deck? Or the
position card deck.
Or the positions in general. What's the story behind that, babe?
Is there a story?
There's kind of a story.
What's the story?
No, I think just, going back to the first of the app, like, I need something different. We need to try something else. We need some different positions.
Yeah, where are you going to, go learn about things to try without seeing crap you want to see, right?
And there's some positions in there that I'm like, I don't even know how that works. And then we've tried it, and it's actually like, oh, that's really enjoyable, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll add that one to our list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. And that's another fun thing. If you have the card deck, you can just throw it in a bowl and pick one out, and I don't know, try a couple that night. It's fun. There's descriptions on them, and I don't know. I think it's really important, especially for women, like we always say, to keep variety in the bedroom. Because you never know what you're going to love. Like, sexual intimacy might be even better. You might find it more fulfilling if you find a new position that
stimulates you.
That is amazing and feels good. You might look more forward to it. But if you're not willing to try anything new, that's never going to happen.
So let's talk about the emotional intimacy workbook.
So a lot of couples will write us and say, I'm struggling with this, or my wife is struggling with this, or we're not connected in this way. There's always some kind of major barrier to sexual intimacy. Whether, I mean, I don't know, do you want to go over like a couple of the, like whether it's phone addiction or distractions or lack of communication. There's just so many, there's probably like 25 in that we talk about. Or busy, or prioritizing the kids over your marriage. Just stuff like that that's keeping you from having that really strong emotional intimacy, which is the foundation for the sexual intimacy. So our workbook we created, we have some like goal setting, some challenges in there, but majority is talking about what that barrier is and then giving you a list of questions to ask each other, to rate that area in your marriage, to be direct with your spouse. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm lacking. This is what I need. Like, those conversations are so important, and some couples don't even know where to start.
And in the workbook, like Amy said, it prompts you with questions and how to rate things. So as you're reading through, it'll say, how do you feel on this scale that you are with date nights? And then you get to compare that as a couple. And it's so important to do, as we've talked about before. If I'm rating it a 5 and Amy's rating it a 10... then we know she's okay, but obviously I'm not feeling the same way. So there's something we need to address or figure out. And so when you can, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, meaning we don't know what conversations to have, or we don't know maybe where we're struggling in some areas. And so by having this workbook and being able to fill a lot of things out and answer these questions, then you can compare your answers and know the areas. Oh, I didn't even know we were having, maybe a struggle in that area, or I didn't know you felt that way, and it prompts really good deep conversation. And the sexual intimacy workbook as well. I mean, I think the sexual intimacy workbook we put together covers things that really I haven't seen a whole lot, if any, other people cover. A lot of other people cover just the real basic stuff, but we dive into the real things that are keeping people from having that sexual intimacy in their marriage that they desire. Diving into the barriers that distractions and phones and the big things that really are keeping couples from experiencing what they want in their marriage. So I think the workbooks are fantastic, and really these are workbooks, or these are things that Amy and I have done in our marriage that, again, have completely transformed our relationship.
Well, I like what you said about, like, sometimes couples will dive into the workbook and not even know what's missing, and then realize, I didn't even realize you were struggling with that. And it starts this whole entire conversation where the wife or the husband's feeling resentment over something, or feeling a lack of something, and like, oh my gosh, like, that's our problem right there.
Yeah.
Just got to have those, the questions, asking each other and rating things, it's going to bring conversation in itself, but fix it, right? Yep. You can't fix something if you don't know that area is broken.
So when we first opened our online shop, I was very hesitant. I told Amy, I said, I don't want like any sexual products in there, like a vibrator and these types of things. And at first, I was like, I don't want to turn into a sex shop, like where people are thinking like, why do they have all these crazy things or what have you? But as you can see in our shop, we've added these things, and my attitude has completely changed about that. There are some products that literally have been a game changer for us in our marriage. And one of the products that we really think is good is the vibrating ring.
It's like a starter toy for people that are kind of like, I don't know if I want to get into toys, or I don't know if I'm going to love toys. Because it works with both of you together. So it's uniting. It's not a replacement.
Yeah, you're still having intercourse.
And it makes intercourse good for the woman. Because our clitoris has to be stimulated at the same time, usually, for an orgasm, right? So anyone that's like hesitant of, I don't know if I want to really bring to this, it's a great starter toy because it's not a replacement, it's only an addition. And it works awesome.
It does.
It
works amazing. So after having those or using those, I'm like, oh my heck, these things are amazing. Why everyone should have one of these. It makes sex so much more enjoyable, especially for the woman. And so obviously we put those in the shop. And then all of you have pretty much heard about the vibrator that we have in this shop.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to go into that because we did an entire episode just on the vibrator because it literally changed our entire sex life.
Yeah.
I was so so I get a lot of emails, comments, whatever, like my wife's against toys, I don't know how we feel about bringing a toy in. We were those people.
We were against it completely.
And it wasn't because we're like, oh, they're bad. We never thought that. We just didn't have any education on them. That's what it was. And I think our biggest worry was, well, what if I like it more than I like him? Or
is it going to replace?
Is it going to replace him? And that's, I know we've already said this, but we set healthy boundaries that we only use them together, that they're just an addition. They're not a replacement. Like when you talk about those things, and I helped him to feel better because I had friends and even some family members saying, what, you don't have one? It's game changing. And I was like, wait, oh, like I didn't have any education on that. And so when I finally gave in, I was like, okay, I'm going to be open because I'm not enjoying it like I think I can be. And I was open to changing my mindset about bringing a toy in, and Nick too, because he was worried. He's like, you're going to like it better. And after having those vulnerable conversations and trying it and being like, wow, that was amazing, because he wants it to be amazing for me, because that's what makes it amazing for him. And if you only use it together and at the same time, that's just an addition to your marriage. So I'm not going to we did an entire episode on why it's amazing, but we'll just leave it at that. Like it literally was, for us, a game changer, and we never wanted to sell this kind of stuff in our shop. But when something changes your marriage to a positive in such a way that now he pulls it out and I'm like, I'm in the mood in 10 seconds, I can't not share that. Yeah. When it's not share that.
When it's had such a good impact, right?
And the reason we don't use it as a replacement, because it usually stays on the outside for us. So a lot of people are like, oh, that is going to be a replacement. You don't have to use it always the way that it's intended to be using. Sometimes you can just use it a massage or on the outside for the clitoris. Like it doesn't, I don't know, like it's just awesome. So we added a couple of these to our shop, ones that we thought were
good, and
we're good.
Some that are very inexpensive that you can try, see how it works before you make a bigger purchase. Yep. Just a real good thing.
So whether you buy it from us, we don't care. Just be open to talking about these conversations in your marriage. We're just trying to tell you the things that have literally helped us. That's the only thing that we ever try to sell is stuff that's literally we swear by.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
We swear by. Can we talk about our box?
Let's talk about the intimacy box.
Okay. We together as a married couple hand selected everything in our intimacy boxes. We have the Valentine's one and then we just have the regular one, right? So you get to pick your card deck. Usually people want the coupon and sexy coupon, romance and sexy coupon book because it's just a great gift.
Yeah.
Right? Like a husband or wife's going to love it because there's massage for the woman. There's foot rubs. There's help around with stuff. There's disconnect from your phone coupons. And then there's all the sexual ones. So it's for both of you. So, and then we did, some bath stuff, some coconut oil. That is the best massage oil that we've found.
It's more of just create a fun romantic atmosphere, right? Like to give it to your spouse and let them know, you want to have a romantic evening together.
Or a weekend.
together.
It's awesome for anniversaries. But I've actually found, like if I do the date night cards or the coupon starters that aren't like too intimate, it makes an amazing wedding present. We've been actually using them for wedding gifts because it's just like a little beginner intimacy kit. And you can pick the coupon card deck that you want to put in it. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Great.
I think it's great for your anniversary. It's great for no reason at all. Or it's also great for a great gift.
Yeah. So the next item is the desire for him and her. The reason why I feel so strongly about this, for me, so I've always kind of had the attitude like, herbs, do they really work, right? So Amy and I
swear by herbs.
Amy and I were at a supplement place and they had some libido ones and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's got to be a scam. And they gave us some sample packs, and I went home and tried it. And
you do not need to try it. I don't even know why you would try that. Like, you are already automatically, naturally.
I totally agree, but I was like, oh my gosh, this thing works crazy good. And, I mean, I was like climbing the walls. It was like nuts. And so after trying that, I'm like, holy crap, this thing worked amazing. We got to be selling these things. Like, this is awesome. Yeah. And Amy tried it as well too, and worked really good for you, right?
I wanted it twice in one night, which would never happen.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's too much info, but they work.
Yeah, so we're like, wow, this stuff really works. It's really legit. So for people that are struggling, and the great thing about these desire herbs is they're all natural, they're safe to take. It not only helps with your sexual desire, but also boosts your energy and your mood. There's a lot of benefits to it. And for some people, you know, the results are pretty much immediately. For the men, you're told to take them a couple hours before sexual intimacy. A lot of people take them as a daily supplement on a daily basis. Women do as well too. So they're pretty awesome.
I love herbs. We're not like your pill poppers. We try not to take medicine as like unless we like literally have to. We swear by herbs, and we're not like naturalists or anything, but I try to be more natural as much as I can, and I feel like herbs are just, I don't know, I'm sold on them.
Yeah,
I think they just make you feel better. So
they're really good.
So yeah.
Well, and last couple products, we have the Ultimate Intimacy Massager. The massager's great because, you know, it takes away from, I guess, the sexual aspect of just, you know, getting in bed or whatever with your spouse and just giving them a good massage, get them in a relaxing mood.
Amazing foreplay.
Our son runs track and he uses it almost on a daily basis. It's just, I mean, it's a great thing.
Great for your muscles. It's great for foreplay.
Yep. And then the last and final thing is the coconut oil, body oil.
Oh, smells like the beach.
The sad thing about this is it might be discontinued. So we only have a few bottles left, so to speak. So we might run out of this shortly.
We are frantically doing everything we can to find a replacement that is better or as good.
Even half as good. It's crazy good. So this is body oil and massage oil. Some of the best. I mean, not some of the best that we've ever found. It's amazing.
Yep.
So that's kind of the stories behind why we have the products that we have, why we offer them to our audience, and how they can help you.
We just wanted you to know that there is a background to. We don't just open up a shop and be like, I hope people will buy stuff. We literally are trying to help marriages. And we use every single thing that we ever talk about. That's kind of why we want to do this. We didn't want to be like, go buy our stuff. We just want you to know that like we have products that if you're suffering in certain areas or disconnect or orgasms, just whatever it is, things that we've had issues with in our marriage, we have tried really hard to create solutions for you.
Yeah, these are products.
And we swear by every single one of them. We have a story of why we picked them or created them ourselves to literally help your marriage.
Yep, and if you go to shop.ultimateintimacy.com and use the code UIApp at checkout, you can get 10% off and free shipping in the US. So
capital UIApp, right?
Yep, correct. So if you have any questions on any of the products, feel free to email us at amy@ultimateintimacy.com. One of us will respond to you and answer any questions you have. We actually get a lot of people messaging us because, you know, it's a safe place. They can ask what products we recommend, why we recommend them. We are open with how they help us, how we feel about them. So if you need a discreet message to find out about some of the products, just email us. And we hope you can find products that really help your marriage and your intimacy. So until next time, we hope you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.